I've been waiting over 4 years to make this video to tell y'all that I completed 75 hard. But the interesting thing about this is I actually cheated. And I want to tell the entire story here on this video on my journey through 75 hard, what got me to this point, and why actually not doing 75 hard exactly the way Andy Frisella tells you to do and says if you mess up one little thing, then that means that you failed and you have to start over, was actually the best thing that ever happened to me, and what has allowed me to become an even better person and a more tapped in with God and just a better manifester and just a happier, more enjoyed version of myself. So if you're down with that, I strongly recommend that you stick around for the entire video. What's up, guys? My name is Nico Arapoulos, and let's dive into this content. And I want to also make another video around 75 hard as well, because after you finish 75 hard, you have the opportunity to continue on into what I believe is called the Live Hard program. And there's like phase 1, phase 2, there might even be a few more phases. I'm not entirely sure. But if you guys would like me to continue on, if you're rooting for me and saying, keep on going to the next level, I'm really considering it. And I just want to hear what your guys' take is. And if that's the case, then I probably will make a part 2 to this video. So let me know down in the comments. It also helps the algorithm if you just give me a little more love and engagement, knowing that this is some content that serves y'all well and would serve you even more if I made a part 2. So what was my journey with 75 hard? Well, it was interesting because I have some really good friends here in Scottsdale, Arizona, and they lived at the same apartment complex that I'm at. They used to. And really good friends, and I just saw them just operating at a different level all of a sudden. I had a friend in from out of town. They were down at the pool. We went and caught up with them, and they're basically saying I feel the most confident I've ever been, the most alive I've ever been, and I'm just on it, right? And I was like, well, what's going on? What happened? And they're like 75 hard, and I was like, whoa, I've heard of that. I've heard some people talk about that, but I've never really thought about doing it. I feel like I'm a fairly disciplined person. Is it that much of a shift and a change to my lifestyle? And they just basically said it gave me a lot of confidence and a lot of momentum. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm down for it. Let's get it. So I started it and it was great. Things were going well. And then I messed up right around like day 20, day 30. I think I forgot like a progress picture. That's what it's been most of the time. And when I say most of the time, because I was like, damn, Andy Frisella, he says, if you mess up at all, if you forget the progress picture, you start over. And then I did it again. And it was like, I think I messed up on the diet a little bit, where I was like, I told myself that I was not going to have sweets or something like that. And I was like, and I ate one. And I was like, oh, crap. And then I got to go back. And that was like day 20, day 30. It's been like that a few times. And I was just asking myself and I was questioning myself. And I was like, what is going on? Why am I having such a challenging time with this? Because it's all these like little things, right? And I'm a disciplined person. I identify as a disciplined person. That's kind of my MO. And for some reason, I'm not able to do this. So it came like 3-4 times. It was always out like day 30, day 40. And then I quote unquote sabotaged myself as the way I saw it. And so I made a commitment after about the 3rd time that I messed up, and I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I probably would have been like complete by this point if I just would have stayed and consistently kept going. But I didn't, right? And so I was like, all right, time to put even more added pressure on. I said, if I don't complete it this time, if I have another little blurb, a little bit of mishap, or a little mishap, progress picture, whatever, then there's even stronger repercussions. And so if you're familiar with Scottsdale at all, there's a mountain known as Camelback Mountain. Okay. It's a pretty good hike. I would say it's, probably about like 45 minutes on the way up, and then obviously right around that back way down. And it's no joke, right? There's, especially on the echo side, it's very, it's a strong incline, right? And so that's what I was going to do. And I told myself that if I mess up on 75 hard again, I I have to do Echo Trail on Camelback Mountain 7 days in a row. Yeah, extreme, right? So lo and behold, I messed up and I went and did Camelback Mountain Echo Side 7 days in a row. And it was actually, somewhat of a good experience, and I got to go see the sunrise for 7 days in a row. It was actually quite beautiful. I mean, it was very warm because it was, basically summertime in Scottsdale, which is not cold by any means. And so I had an interesting thing happen with all of that. Is a girl that I was dating at the time, she didn't necessarily agree with that. And she thought I was just being super extreme. And she told me some things that didn't feel good at the time. But there could have been some truth to them. And she basically said, like, why are you, like, you're not feeling good enough, so you're putting all these, like, things in place where you can feel good enough because you're achieving things, right? And so that was somewhat triggering. It didn't feel good, but again, like, I think she brought some truth to it. And, it was actually right in the midst of when we decided to part ways too. So I think there was all sorts of different energy and emotion around that. But it was interesting because, obviously now, 75 days ago, I have a friend that we have these meetups here in Scottsdale, Arizona, with high-level men that we do pickleball and cold plunge and sauna once a month, and we bring a bunch of high-level men together, and we take content, and if you check my Instagram, you can kind of see these meetups, and they're a lot of fun. They've brought so much joy to my heart and just helped me expand my network. And one of my friends, he was basically saying, when I had some of the content around of him, he's like, I don't really like the way I look. He's like, I think I'm going to do 75 hard. And I was like, bet. Like, I've been wanting to do this again. I wanted to actually finish it. It's just been something that I hadn't got back to because I was like, I don't know if I want to continue to go that extreme again and just have that little blurb, and this could be like a 6 month to a year long thing of actually finishing this. Those are all kind of like the ruminating thoughts that were coming in. But as I've been elevating myself more and more and getting more spiritually aligned and going deeper into my faith, I sat with it and I felt called to do it. And I'm like, cool. Like, if you're going to do it, I'm going to do it too. And so I set the parameters of what I want to do. And basically, if you're not familiar, 75 hard, you basically have 75 days straight of a variety of things. One specifically is 2 workouts. One of them has to be outside. Okay. And then it's a gallon of water. You have to pick a specific diet. You have to, no cheat meals, no alcohol. And so that's the gist of it for the most part. I might be missing a thing or two there, but 75 days straight. And if you mess up, you blurb at all, like if you miss a progress picture, then you're done. You have to start back over. It's very intense. It's very like a masculine type of thing that Andy Frisella said, like, if you don't do this, you have to start over. And if you deviate at all, you're not doing it correctly at all. Right. And that was my approach for, the first 4 times. And you saw where that got me. Right. And I would probably argue, I'm not arguing, but I would say that if Andy ended up seeing this video, he would say, you didn't complete it. Right. That's exactly what would happen, because I didn't complete it exactly the way he says. But like I said in the beginning of this video, it was probably the best thing that I ever could have done. Because again, I am much more on my spiritual journey and I am deeper in my faith. And it's so much less about me not feeling good and having to complete 75 hard to feel good about myself, and rather put myself on some type of plan that actually just adds value to my life, that adheres to my life. And I'll explain what this is all about here in a second. But I just wanted to throw that little factoid in, is that, like, technically I didn't do it, right? There were some certain things I'll explain why or what those things were. But again, how this was literally the best thing that I ever could have done. And now I'm more invigorated, more excited. I have more confidence. I have more enthusiasm, more passion for life. My business is better than it's ever been. My relationships are better than they've ever been. And it's all because I cheated on 75 hard. Right? So what is this all about, right? Well, first of all, the diet, right? Well, first thing that I said is that I was going to do keto the entire time, but I just realized like that doesn't really like fit for me. I do my best not to eat as many carbs as I don't love eating carbs just because it doesn't feel good within my system because then there's more inflammation. But I also realize just like where the current stage of my life is, like if I'm not eating carbs, I feel like kind of deficient, and like I have to eat a lot of fat, and it's just not where I want to. It doesn't adhere to my lifestyle too, and like meal prepping and stuff like that. So it just didn't make sense after a couple weeks. So I just made more of the point that I'm not going to eat sweets, no desserts, no ice cream, no cookies, no cakes, none of that kind of stuff. Like no like heavy processed sugars. I'm never going to go into, right? And if I get offered that, like that's a big no, right? The other thing is, workouts. I took much more of a laxed approach to this, is that most of my second workouts were just night walks because it's ridiculously hot here in Arizona, and I just don't feel like doing, too intense workouts, right? And sometimes like both of my workouts were just walks. But here's the thing is that, okay, so here's a couple of things. One day I did miss the picture. Okay, I woke up and I realized, damn, I didn't post the picture. And the previous version of me would have said, you have to start over, right? But again, I kind of just like sat with it, and I was like, what's the most important part here? Is it about like continue to, I even heard someone say that like true like gritty discipline is a form of self-hatred, and why I don't necessarily agree with either side of them. I think that both of those are extreme. Like if you don't do this, then you're not good enough, and if you have that approach, then you hate yourself. Like I think both of those are super extreme, and it's more about finding the woo and the do, as we talk about all the time on this YouTube channel and inside of our Skool community. But it's like finding that balance, what works for you. And I think that's really what I'm getting at, is like, this is the way I did it. This is the way I approach it. And it was absolutely amazing. And it felt so good and aligned, and I'll explain all the benefits that came from it here in a second. But it's just like whatever adheres to you. And I think the fact that Andy Frisella says like, this is the way you have to do it, and if you don't do it this way, then you're not good enough and you have to start over. It's like, if that's working for you, great, go do it. If it's not working for you, then find the way that works for you. Okay. And the way that worked for me is that I took this a little bit more of a lax approach. There was a time when I actually did eat ice cream. I did have some things that had more like sugar in them that were considered desserts, right? The ice cream didn't actually have any sugar in it. That's another conversation. And then it was my birthday within that, and a friend like threw a party for me and made a cake specifically for me. And I was just like, this is amazing. I have amazing friends. Like, I'm not going to just like push this away and say like, I'm not eating this because I'm on this strict routine that Andy Frisella says that I can't eat things that I said I was committed to. I was just like, I'm more in a phase in my life where if people like show me how much they love me through, a cake, I'm not going to say like, no, Andy said I couldn't do it, right? So it's like, there's just little concessions here and there. But what I will tell you is that I stayed committed for 75 days. And that's the most important part to me, right? I finished it. I completed it. I made a point to go get my workout every single day, even if it was just a walk, even if it was just 2 walks throughout the day. I kept my body moving, right? And that was the most important part. And so I want to share a couple funny stories with you as well, is that 2 times I was doing this, 2 days of this whole entire process, is I went to a wedding, right? And so one, I went to California, I went to LA to go to my business partner's wedding. And, there's a lot going on that day. And I didn't have a whole lot of time to fit in 2 specific workouts. And so what I did instead is I made my dancing a workout. So 45 minutes, I was just out there just dancing, just having a good time. And at one point, I was literally the only person out on the dance floor, and it was like a 200-person Hispanic wedding and just this one gringo. There's a couple others, but it was just pretty funny because of the fact that like I was kind of making a scene, like in an inadvertent scene, because I was wanting to finish 75 hard. So it's like those type of things that I had the commitment really makes me proud that even though I had a few little blunders, continuing to push through and making it fun and having a good time with it that was what helped me significantly. And then I did that again at my cousin's wedding, and that was even funnier because of the fact that my brother-in-law bet me $100 that I wouldn't stay in one position and just dance like this, like the whole entire time. And I was like, all right, game. I was already going to do it because I was already going to dance for 45 minutes because of the fact that I wanted to get my second workout, And then he made that bet for me and just added a little bit, 15 minutes and a little incentive. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. And the funniest thing is that my cousin actually got word of it. She's very competitive and she thought she could break me. And so she got like the whole dance party, the whole wedding party, everybody that was at the wedding to circle around me to be like in the middle of the dance circle. And I'm still just like right here. And they're saying like, era gasolina, ruta la gasolina. So it was really funny. I didn't break. I mean, I was pretty committed at that point. That was like halfway through. So I was like, I'm doing this. So it was kind of like a combination of I was intense about this in certain ways, and then when, I didn't want to be intense about it in certain ways, I wasn't. And I took much more of like a laxed spiritual approach to this because again, I've been reading these books like Letting Go, books like The Untethered Soul. And I've just been in this phase of just being much more in a surrender phase, and whatever's meant to be is going to happen. And so for me to put that rigidity into the 75 hard didn't feel aligned. So I really just went with more of the flow. Like sometimes I was a little bit more intense, sometimes I was not, sometimes I let things slide. And I really just took this approach of like, the most important thing is to continue on, to keep on going, continue to love myself, continue to have fun, to enjoy myself, and go 75 days of staying committed and staying after it. And I think that's the most beautiful part. And it really adhered to my schedule because like right now I'm building a company and we're building a massive company and it's really exciting and there's so much going on. I'm basically just working all day and I'm enjoying it too, and I'm having fun with it because it's something I'm very passionate and alive with, and that's what's been so beautiful. And then on my workouts, a lot of times like I'm on the elliptical machine, I'm just responding to DMs. And that's a big part of my life right now until I get that completely outsourced. But I'm, posting content. I'm responding to people. Those are things that I'm doing a lot of the day. And I'm engaging with other people's content and making YouTube videos and editing them. And so during my workouts, whether those were my walks or those were on the elliptical, like I'm able to do that type of stuff. So it fit into my schedule really well. And then I was meal prepping. I had my food cooking on the stove when I was working out, and then I would just eat real quick. And I was just like, I'm just on go right now. And so again, I just wanted to have something that fit my lifestyle that could help me even more. I mean, I've spent a lot of time by myself, so it was just staying more active. And that was really the most important part. And I wanted to check that box off, that I did complete it, because I did not complete it 4 times before. And what was the point? Like what really is the point of this? Is the point to just be so rigid and structured and say that you don't complete it unless you do it exactly the way that Andy says? Like, yeah, there's going to be people that argue with me of that, and maybe you thumbs down this video and you leave a comment, like, by all means, go for it. Like, I'm game. But like at the end of the day, this is a conversation that we were having the other day at the pickleball hang that we do. He was actually one of my first clients. He runs a mid 8-figure basically marketing agency for law firms now. And we helped him go from 7 figures to mid 8 figures now. And now he manifested his multi-million-dollar home. He's in a relationship, and it's just really cool. And we've developed a really special friendship from that. And now we cater, get-togethers so that people can come together. And it's just amazing. It's everything that I've ever wanted, amazing what he's wanted, and it's just so cool. And so basically, we were having this conversation with a couple like high-level men. Like one of the guys had over 2 million followers, and it was just really cool. And we're having this conversation about like, who do you listen to? Like, do you listen to Andy Frisella? Do you listen to David Hawkins that wrote this book? Do you listen to the Bible? Do you listen to this guy? And at the end of the day, you gotta listen to yourself, right? You listen to God. You listen to yourself. That's my perspective. And so if you're constantly being told what to do, whether it is Andy Frisella telling you, if you don't do this exactly the way it's designed, then you don't do it, then do that. And if that feels good to you, then do that. If you want to do more of a laxed approach, then do that. If you want to take this and take that as gospel or whatever it is, but at the end of the day, like, take information and then decide on what you want to do. And for me particularly, it was about, taking certain aspects of 75 Hard and get the most out of it, right? Get the most out of it. I ultimately listened to myself. I thought about, like, when I missed the picture, do I need to start over? And I was like, no. Like, right now, I don't need anything to, like, beat myself up about. I just want to continue on. I want to finish this, and I want to, like, feel really good. And because of that, like I said, my relationships are better than they've ever been with my family. My business has never been better. I feel like this new invigoration with my business, with the clients that we're bringing in, our Skool Community, like, everything is just very active and flowing and a lot of momentum rolling. So overall, net positive for me. Did I do it exactly the way Andy said? No, I didn't. And he might check it off, but at the end of the day, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, nothing really matters. It's the way you want to do things. It's whatever that you want to do. And I think, having other people tell you what to do and taking that as gospel, I think that's not the healthiest way to go about it. So again, I think, like, depending on how much traction this video gets, maybe some people are going to disagree and say you didn't finish it, and that's great. But at the end of the day, it's my life, and I'm not going to really let anybody else tell me what to do. Ultimately, I'm just going to listen to myself. I'm going to listen to God. And right now, I feel really amazing that I did that, and I'm excited to continue on to phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, because I feel like it continues to fit my lifestyle, right? And so I'm really happy and really enjoying it, and that's what I got. So thank you for watching this video. I'd love to hear your comments. Love to hear what you have to say about this approach to 75 Hard. What is your thoughts? I really would genuinely like to hear what that's all about and how you approach it. And have you done 75 Hard? How have you done with it? Did you do it strict? Did you do it a little bit more lax? Love to hear some comments. And then again, make sure and subscribe to this channel. We're on a big mission right now to helping over 20,000 people become magnetic manifestors, and we'd love for you to be one of them. So go ahead and subscribe. You can join our Skool Community, where we go live every single week with a bunch of amazing people, over 500 people. It's going to be a paid community here soon, but right now it's still free. And you can learn all about that here on this video. But make sure and follow me on Instagram. Leave some comments down below. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Drop a tree emoji down below so I know all the people that actually got to the end of this video. Appreciate y'all. Peace.